Thank God, 4 years after January 6th, we finally have gotten our peaceful transition of power presided over by none other than Vice President Kamala Harris, President of the Senate, also someone who was running in said election. And instead of doing the base thing of leading an insurrection herself, um, she instead presided over the certifying of the election. And take a look.
The vote for the President of the United States as delivered to the President of the Senate is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows.
Painful.
Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris.
Pause to allow everyone to. Mike Johnson's there. There's a standing O for Mr. Trump. Who's gaveling? That's what I want to know. Is she gaveling? Is she like, okay, that's enough? Or is someone else? I think someone else is gaveling.
I imagine it would either be her or Johnson.
It'd either be her or Johnson, or who's that lady with like the curly hair and the pearls who like does the roll call? I love that little substitute teacher. I don't know who she is, but it might be her.
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
Okay, there's a standing O for Kamala D. Harris, 226. Oh,
are those the Democrats giving her a standing?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think that makes it better. I think that makes it worse. I think that's more humiliating than just let her skate on over it. No, don't make her pause and really bask in the fact that like she got her ass whipped in that election. Like she got beat bad. And they're like, they might as well sing like that, like, hey, goodbye. Like, it's like truly brutal what they're doing to her in that moment.
It's the political equivalent of like a participation trophy. It's just, it's so pathetic. They're trying to make her feel good. They're kissing her ass. She should be embarrassed. And the fact that they're talking about her running potentially again or running for governor of California is just the same type of doubling down that we've seen from Democrats for years that leads to no results. It's pathetic.
Oh God, Jordan, don't depress me so early. I was going to just focus on how great it is. They're supporting her and you know what I mean? And some people are not standing, but you had to at that point because Trump's people stood for him. So at that point you get, okay, now who's going to get up and clap? There's Debbie. I think I see her. I can tell because of her her massive perm. She needs to change it up. So, yes, they're standing for her, but like, couldn't she just find somebody else to preside over this? Like, it would have been like, do what you did when you didn't attend Netanyahu's speech, which now I'm pretty sure she would have attended Netanyahu's speech. But like, I don't know. This was so painful. And she did not seem pleased during it. Here she was right after in this press conference. She definitely wasn't pleased, but listen to what she says about how important it is for a peaceful transition of power and how important it is to our democracy. Hang on, sorry. Ooh.
Well, today was obviously a very important day, and it was about what should be the norm and what the American people should be able to take for granted, which is that one of the most important pillars of our democracy is that there will be a peaceful transfer of power. I do believe very strongly that America's democracy is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. Every single person, their willingness to fight for and respect the importance of our democracy. Otherwise, it is very fragile and it will not be able to withstand moments of crisis. And today, America's democracy stood.
Did America's democracy stand? I mean, this is what I think is. First of all, I love the shade. She's angry. She's itching her forehead. I did what I had to do. Like, I feel you. Like, I feel this real hard. But then the must say line of, our democracy must be protected and we all must do what we can. And how about Merrick Garland protecting that democracy? How about Joe Biden? How about your own goddamn administration protecting that democracy? What about the courts? What about trying to impeach Clarence Thomas and Judge Alito, who clearly were throwing down with Trump and clearly have gotten kickbacks after kickback from Republican donor and are completely partisan, and ruled that not only is Donald Trump above the law, but that no state like Colorado, like Maine, could take Donald Trump's name off the ballot because of the 14th Amendment. What is it? The Section 3 that says if you aid or give comfort to insurrectionists, you can't hold office anymore. So, like, look in the goddamn mirror. I appreciate her saying we all need to fight, but this is, Jordan, I mean, for me, the whole feeling after the election and during it really was like, so we are seeing two things simultaneously. We're being told consistently that this is about democracy. It's about saving democracy. It's about saving democracy. When simultaneously the Justice Department and different court cases that were coming down on Donald Trump deliberately waited and deliberately waited until after the election. So it's like, wait. You literally have your hands on the reins of democracy to try to and the judicial system to try to insulate us, to try to protect us, to try to fight for it. And yet you're kicking it to the voters like it's on us. Motherfuckers, like, we're not in power. So and it's just, and it all is because they were afraid. They've been afraid. And the reason, obviously, if we need to say this, 4 years ago there was an attempt to overturn the results of the election violently. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the closest we've come to an actual coup in this country, right? Which it was about time. I mean, we had been doling them out around the world. And so, like, do we need to keep on playing this fucking footage for everybody? But it's just wild that, like, even when we are, like, in these detention camps, in the gulags, we're just going to be looking at each other and going, you know what? At least there was a peaceful transfer of power. As if us fucking weak-ass libs were doing shit about it anyway. I'm sorry. This is just me.
Yeah.
I've been demonetized at this point, guys. But Jordan.
No, Ryan Grimm has pointed out in both his books and other interviews for years that had they responded within 24 to 48 hours of January 6th with an impeachment effort, it likely would have been more successful. But they waited. There were people drafting articles on the grounds while it was happening. They were
as they were being held hostage, like, all right, here, let's do a notes app on this.
Right. And you can go back and revisit even conservative pundits' commentary from that day or the next day, where they talked about how this disqualifies Trump from ever holding power. And even prominent fundraisers and cheerleaders that we've seen in this cycle were in that camp. David Sachs, Chamath Palihapitiya, the All In podcast guys, publicly denouncing him. Yeah. Now they held fundraisers for him. They're going to be in his administration or close to his administration. No one cares. No one even cares. And part of it, I think, is because we just don't have the attention span anymore. But also, who do you think you're, like, lecturing here? Like, Harris is like, oh, this is how things should look. They don't care. You just lost the popular vote to this guy. Like, no consequences are enforced. He gets off scot-free. He's going back to the White House. Who are you lecturing here? Because clearly the electorate generally does not care and is not substantively off-put by this. So I'm not sure what this was about other than, like, patting yourself on the back for taking the high road, but we have nothing to gain by doing that because the Republicans have shown time and time again there is no low that they're unwilling to reach.
I mean, here's like before I kick it to you, Will, like, I don't want to let's be concrete about what she could have done. I'm not saying you don't certify the election. I'm saying you do it with even more shade. I'm saying you do it by saying, these prosecutions can and will continue. And if we had a fair judicial system, they would have continued. There is no statute of limitations. Like, whatever it is, like, I recommend they be extended so that when Trump is out of office, but January 6th must be answered for. That can never come to pass again. Talk about misinformation, talk about the right-wing news, talk about, like, just act like you are an opposition party. Stop rolling over time and again. And to your question of who does it sound like she's talking to, you know, I get the same vibe that I did during the Palestine protest uprising, right? Like our anti-genocide protests, which it felt like, hey, this is actually to all you lefties, radicals, progressives, grassroots, young people, people of color, immigrants, anyone who actually wants to do anything like, you know, massive civil disobedience, organizing. Like, this is to you to say, you know, tamp down now, you know, pipe down. Like, we have to do this. We have to, like, we're in cahoots. I'm just reminding you, I'm not on your side. I'm on the side of sort of establishment norms, which completely go against protecting you and your families. But anyway, Will, am I being harsh?
No. No, I mean, it all, anytime somebody was like, I just don't understand how people could vote for Republicans. And it's like, well, but it doesn't seem like it, it just doesn't seem believable. It doesn't seem like they believe their own rhetoric when, you know, they talk about how bad Trump is, but then when they generally talk about, you know, we need a strong Republican Party and bipartisanship, and I'd put a Republican in my administration. It just, at the end of the day, it makes it all feel insincere when you then turn around and go, well, Donald Trump is a threat to the country. It's like, okay, well, but you're praising every other Republican, so why would he really be that different than them? They all are just unmoored from reality. So it's not even like Donald Trump seems like a singular presence within the Republican Party anymore. So then you hear, well, you know, it's about fighting, and it's you go, well, but you guys never fought, so this doesn't seem believable either. None of it seems believable because you try to have these unbelievably boring, rousing speeches, but if you actually look at their actions, you go, well, that doesn't really back that up. And I don't think most people look at it that deeply, but I do think it's a difficult thing not to internalize, especially when you compare it with Republicans who are like, you know, you guys are like child molesters and you all should be in jail.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.